that stream. What's going on, everybody? This is Caddy with Money Investing. So we got quite a day in front of us. Let's take a look. Hopefully people join. We got all right. So the connection looks good, and we should be live. So that's good. This right here is gonna be everything that's coming on. All right, I'll give it a few minutes for people to join. All right, there we go. So we are down. We are down. What's going on? What's up? Thank you for joining in. I really appreciate you all. I'll give it a few more minutes till we have everybody on here. So welcome. The market's down substantially. If you were to look at the SPY and the QQQs, we are coming off the lows a little bit. The Nasdaq down a little bit over 1%. The S&P down over 30 basis points. Yeah, I mean, Apple has been selling off. NIO and Tesla are on full-on tilt. Tesla down over 3%, and NIO down a little bit over 4%. It was down almost 5% at one point. Just give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me okay, and if you guys can see the screen fine. So just let me know if everything's working good, and you guys can hear me without any issues, and you are able to see the screen as well. Welcome from Japan, Ankush. Thank you so much for joining. Brian, what's going on, my man? Again, thank you so much for joining in. Santiago, shout out to you. So again, I really appreciate you all. Yeah, we'll go over the reasons. We'll go over a lot of different things. And yeah, NIO has been getting killed a little bit. It's down over 4%. And so is Tesla. So is Apple, down over 1.5% almost. All right. Sounds good. Perfect. So yes, I put out a video last week. It was kind of like an alert on the volatility that this week is going to be very important. If you guys did get a chance to watch that video, we went over how March 16th and 17th is going to be perhaps one of the most important days for the market in a long time. And the reason, again, the FOMC meeting, which is supposed to get concluded by 2 p.m. Eastern. So we had the meeting yesterday, we had the meeting today, and they're going to give us a lot more insight through a press release later today. So very excited about what Jerome Powell has to say about interest rates. We're going to break down a complete report, what we're expecting from the Fed moving forward, the monetary policy, because it's very important, for the markets, for the bond markets, for the equities market, and the economy in general. So how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing this morning, this evening, wherever you guys are watching from? What's going on? What's up? How are you guys doing? We'll go over a lot of different things. We'll go over, the Fed, the monetary policy. We'll go over some of the technicals, some macros. And this actually, by the way, I found a chart on Twitter, and they actually shared this chart right here. This was March 16th, 2020. So 1 year ago, yesterday, this was the state of the market. So it was pretty crazy for me to actually realize that it's been almost a year since we've seen the significant drawdowns for the markets, right? Greetings from Germany. Again, thank you so much for joining. We'll break down a lot of different things, like the Fed, the macros, but I just wanted to address this. Something that was shared on Twitter, but I was able to grab this, and this was 1 year ago on March 16 when the Nasdaq was down over 11%, and the S&P was also down, I think, roughly over 8 or 9%. But this was just one day absolutely pain. Like Apple was at the time was down over 12. You've got Amazon down over 8, Microsoft over 11, Google down over 10. Like this was just absolutely crazy. And I remember, like, I was invested back then, like last year. It was just so much pain in the markets. It was just absolutely insane. All right, so let's take a look at the markets right now. We're going to go over to pre-markets, this right here. So there is a lot of stuff that's red. Let's start with the worst. ZOM down about 8% pre-market and trading as low as $2.07 right now, or 207. Riot is also down a little bit over 6.5%. Did blockchain sell off or did cryptos sell off? Let's take a look. So let me just go over to cryptos very quickly. We'll take a look. Bitcoin is down over 3%, almost 4%, running as low as 54,000. Yep, so it's really volatile, right? We got Microvision down. ChargePoint is down almost 5%, trading as low as 23.50. Followed by Neo down over 4.5%. We got Shift Technologies also down over 4%. We got Palantir down over 4%. Geez, breaking down below $25. Lemonade down over 4%. We got Tesla down almost 4%, trading as low as 650. So 650 is kind of like the level, or call it 660 actually. 660 is the level that we're watching. That's the level that we talked about in our previous videos as well. Yeah, the market is pulling back definitely, and this was expected, right? This is not a surprise. I mean, this is very normal because the Fed is speaking today, so we're gonna find out what they have to say. So every word is gonna be very carefully noted from the markets and investors as well. So let's take a look at how many people we have. I hope that everything is working without any issues. All right, 215 people. Guys, make sure that you guys drop a like. It really helps out with the channel right here, and really pushes out the stream to other people as well. So, all right, moving on, we've got Fiverr also down over 3.6. We got Unity Software down about 3.5. Corsair down over 3%. Square down over 3%. Uber, Etsy, Arc Genomics ETF. We've got Zoom Video down over 2. We got PubMatic down over 2. Shopify, PayPal, C3 AI. We got Nokia, Nvidia, Snowflake. Everything's in the red. I mean, it's pretty much February all over again. Am I right? So Vroom down, United Airlines down, Alphabet, Wynn Resorts, Delta. So it's not really like you're seeing a rotation over to some other reopening trades or like companies that benefit from this. All these companies are pretty much flat right now. We've got Nordstrom in the green, but everything is just like, I mean, there's probably no trades right now for these that have been updated. But everything else, like AMD is down over 1.5%. American Airlines down over 1.5%. Twitter down over 1.7%. Facebook, after pushing up over 2% yesterday, it's down over 1.3% today. And then Boeing, Delta Airlines, Alibaba also selling off down to 226. I'll go over Alibaba as well. And then we got Walt Disney, we've got Carnival. Everything mostly in the red. So, all right, so Neo is pushing up a little bit, now down over only 4.3%, but it's still down substantially, right? So let's take a look at, let's listen to a little bit of what is going on.
Very acutely, and obviously planning a messaging strategy against the...
All right, we'll tune back over to Bloomberg in just a second to really understand what they're talking about. But Palantir is now down over 3.6%. It is pushing higher a little bit. And then Apple is down a little bit over 1.3%. We got Tesla trading at 656. We'll see if that 650 or 660 level continues to get validated or not. Yes, so we've got a lot to cover. And this right here is the interest rates right now, as of 2020, as of April, as of even February, March. I mean, it hasn't been changed. And again, we're trading literally near zero levels, so 0.05%. That's the Fed funds rate, one of the most important rates for the economy, for the U.S. economy and the world economy and the markets as well. So March 16, 17, again, we've got the FOMC meeting. So we're gonna find out more about what they have to say. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? What is Jerome Powell going to say today? Anything about their interest rates, inflation? Is he going to provide us any sort of estimates as to when he's going to increase interest rates, or what he sees for inflation? I mean, of course, he's going to talk a little bit about that, but all of his previous conferences have been very, very vague. It's kind of really hard to really understand what he's trying to say, other than the fact that, we're looking for maximum employment, we're looking for inflation to run over 2%, we're looking for interest rates to stay near zero levels till 2023. But really, I mean, what are the specifics, right? I want to know the specifics, like quarter by quarter, right? What are we forecasting? What are we seeing for the markets moving forward? Because monetary policy with quantitative easing is one of the most important things in the markets. And you'll notice, like in 1980s, inflation was running too hot, and we had to raise interest rates all the way to highs of 20%, almost 19.8, 19.9%. And since then, it's just been on this downtrend, right? We can't go any lower. Like, this is as low as it gets for interest rates. And even in back, like during the global or the housing crash back in 2008, 2009, so that was pretty much over here. So let me just point that out. So that was here back in 2007, 2008, when we had the housing crash. The interest rates cut down all the way to 0.05% right here. and then we stayed there, right, for a really long time. We were just there, like let's take a look. So from 2010, we didn't actually get up till 2015, I want to say. So let me go back to take a look at where did we start raising interest rates after the housing crash. So this right here was that crash, and I want to say 2015 was kind of like the level where we actually started increasing interest rates for after the housing crash. So it was what, 5 years, maybe more than that, maybe more. So 2010's right here, 2020, I want to say 2015, and this was 2009, 2008. So maybe like 6 years, 7 years until we actually began any type of quantitative tightening here and started increasing interest rates. So I mean, it could be years till we actually start that, right? I mean, it could be like, I mean, they're projecting 2023. There's some other forecast, by the way. This right here is going to be a really good article that we're going to break down that goes over a lot of different things and the March madness, so to speak, that's about to begin with the FOMC meeting. So again, with the economy about to boom, the Fed's easy policies will be in the spotlight Wednesday when Chairman Jerome Powell speaks to the press after the Fed's two-day meeting. This is the exact report that I covered in my most recent update that you guys are more than welcome to watch. We go over some of the technicals, we go over the VIX, which, by the way, the VIX curled back up over 20. Yesterday we were talking about it, how it broke down below 20, and I wanted to see if it's going to close below 20 levels. And today, right now, pre-market, we are trading above 20 levels. So if I go over to the volatility on the S&P 500, that's going to be the VIX. You'll notice that we're back up over 20.5. Pretty interesting stuff. It is absolutely reluctant to come down below 20. And again, like this, if it continues to surge over 25, 30, 40, 50 levels, if it jumps 60%, that's going to potentially pull back the S&P 500 as well. Let's take a look at the VXN, right? That's going to be the NASDAQ's volatility. It's up over almost 2% right now. It was trading as low as 27. And for this one, for the NASDAQ's volatility, the support we're watching, or the level, so to speak, is going to be roughly at, call it 25 to 26 levels, so like right there. And still very reluctant to break down below that level. So the volatility is still up there, right? So Mustafa, he's talking at 2:30 p.m. Eastern is when they're concluding their meeting, and then he's going to be talking with the press to basically address everything. And there's also going to be the notes that are going to be posted on their official website. The press release, the statement, which I will be breaking down in a separate video to go over some of the macros, go over a lot of different things. Everything related to inflation, the labor market, the monetary policy like interest rates, quantitative easing, all those things that are very important. I mean, to be frank, I mean, the markets have taken advantage of the money supply, the monetary fiscal policy. And I know there's a lot of talks about the lost decade. I know that Charlie Munger and Ray Dalio and a lot of other investors have actually mentioned that this next 10 years are going to be like a lost decade. Expect negative to no returns, and there's a fear that the markets are going to be almost exactly as where they are today in 10 years as where they are today, which is a pretty scary thought if you think about it, right? I mean, nobody wants to invest for the next 10 years only to basically see their investment either be the same or actually be a little bit down. But there's a lot of other charts that we can look at, including the interest rates, the Federal Reserve's Fed funds rate. The SLR is also going to be something that we're going to be focusing on. We'll see if actually there's anything that he says about the SLR that's going to be supplementary leverage ratio, if they actually extend it beyond March. If they don't, then we could see the yields potentially having another sort of rally close to 1.92% maybe, because if we do see a significant amount of liquidation for the bonds, that will lead to the bond prices going down, right? So close to $2 trillion, so close to $2 trillion US dollars or US treasuries are held by one of the biggest banks, and they may be forced to liquidate around $350 to $550 billion worth of US treasuries if the SLR is not extended beyond March. So let's take a quick look at the chat and if there's anything interesting. Alright, so we're going to go over to the SPY, the QQQs, and the QQQ is down a little bit over 1%, and the SPY is down about 30 basis points. And this right here is going to be our select sector index. So you guys already know the different sectors we follow. Follow 8 different sectors. We got energy, financials, real estate, utilities, industrial materials, communication staples, and real estate. And of course, technology as well. And healthcare as well on there. Technical issues. Wait, is the stream not working? Is the stream working? My stream won't load. I cannot see stream. That's weird. I mean, it should be working. It should be working normally. I mean, I have the... Let me know in the comment, let me know in the live chat if the stream is not working. I can see it, just started working again, got better now, working for me. Okay, all right, good. Yeah, I mean, I by the way, I do apologize in advance if my stream does get cut off. Like, I've been so frustrated with all these power outages, and it's probably on my end. It's not you guys, it's probably on my end because my internet has been giving me a lot of issues lately, and I've been having a lot of power outages as well. So it's been very, very frustrating trying to do these live streams because they basically take up so much data. They need a lot of speed, right? So I do apologize in advance if the stream does get cut off. But that's just like the nature of where I am, and things that are out of my control. I'm working on getting like a fiber optic network that's going to be like wired in, hardwired. So we'll see if that actually works out in the future. But Richard, I am sorry about that if the stream keeps cutting out. Again, it's because of the internet issues that I have right now. So I'm trying to get that fixed. Hopefully it gets fixed very, very soon. So we've got Tesla down a little bit over 3. NIO is still down over 4%. We got Apple down over 1.3. Palantir down over 4. Let's take a look at Square. Down over 3% as well. And let's listen to... All right. Let's see if there's anything interesting going on.
Building houses if you have that kind of weather. The surprise is in the building permits. Building permits had been on a tear, and they fall 10.8%. 10.4% rather, for the month of February, down to a 1,682,000 annual rate. It's a bit of a surprise because while you do get weather interruptions and things like that from the start side, the permit side had been really expanding because there's been a dearth of available properties for people to buy, and one reason the housing market has slowed. Now, we have seen interest rates go up a little bit, mortgage rates, and we've seen the National Association of Home Builders confidence number go down.
All right, so we're going to break down that report. We're going to continue to talk a little bit about that. So again, the FOMC meeting will release its statement at 2 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. So today at 2 p.m., expect a statement release from the FOMC, and that's where we're going to see majority of the volatility because everyone's going to go through that report very, very quickly. Investors are going to read it and price that into the markets depending on what he says, what their policy looks like in the future, and Fed watchers expect little change in the text. So let's go over to the FOMC calendar, and actually let's go over to their recent report that they published. So people are not expecting a huge change in the text, so to speak. So press conference, and this right here is going to be the text right here. And this is also, we've broken it down, right? So this was the presentation or the press conference, and if you were to look at the PDFs, that's going to be the actual stuff that they said. So actually, this is not it. Let me go back. Right here, the statement. So that was a statement that they issued, the press release back on January 27th. That was the first time, the first meeting of the year. They usually have 8 meetings in a year. Again, we've broken it down in the past as well. It talks mostly about the bond purchases, the asset program that they have. About $120 billion is what they're buying to keep yields at a certain level, right? So exciting. So they basically said, so Rick Ryder, who's at, I believe, So BlackRock's Rick Ryder basically said that moving forward, they've got to start that communication. So what they're saying is the market is waiting to learn more about what the monetary policy is going to look like, what the Fed's going to potentially do in the future, and the jumpiness of rates and the volatility in the market is because we haven't heard anything or any of their plans yet. So Ryder said that the Fed could raise interest rates while still buying bonds. So that right there is a very, very interesting analysis, because if you are raising interest rates, that's quantitative tightening. You're basically reducing liquidity in the markets, and you are kind of withdrawing from monetary policy. But if you're still buying bonds, you're kind of keeping prices, so to speak, the demand for those bonds still high, hence pushing the yields further down or keeping them at a certain level. So that's quantitative easing and tightening at the same time, simultaneously. So very, very interested to find out how that's going to get discounted in the markets, right? Is that going to be bullish or bearish for the markets in general? He said that it may want to shift its purchases more towards the long end to keep longer term rates low, since they impact mortgages and other loans. So he's talking about the 10 years and the 30-year rates that are going to be the most important ones moving forward, because they affect mortgages, credit lines, business loans, auto loans, a lot of other debt products as well. In their economic projections, their employment projections for next year is probably going to be 4%. If that's right, why not? Raising short end interest rates and draining some liquidity out of the front part of the yield curve is not a problem. So again, moving away from short-term bonds, more so towards the longer-term bonds. So, all right, reading further. So in the last forecast, 5 of 17 members expected a rate hike in 2023. So that's kind of like the narrative that we have, is 2023, like the last quarter of 2023 or towards the end of 2023, is when we're potentially going to see any type of rate increases. And just one forecast, a hike in 2022. So that's going to be next year. And of course, Fed officials provide their rates forecast anonymously on so-called a dot plot. And the Fed said it would continue its bond purchases until it's made substantial progress towards its goal. So that's what I'm talking about, right? This right here, the wording is very vague. It's very hard for us to understand. Okay, well, substantial progress, maximum employment, right? There's no quantifiable metrics that Jerome Powell has been giving us, right? Even with the Wall Street Journal webinar that was organized like a couple of weeks ago, I believe, he basically says we're looking at maximum employment. We're not just focused on the unemployment rate dropping down to 2% or 4%. We're looking at different demographics. We're looking at different hire rates, quit rates. We want to look at a lot of different things and a vast majority of the labor market to really understand where the real interest rate or the employment rate is going to be and what that looks like in terms of maximum employment. And then inflation, so to speak, running at over 2%. And we already know the core CPI is at close to 1.2, and the PCE CPI or the inflation is currently sitting at 1.7. That came out last Friday, I believe, or the Friday before when the inflation report was reported. So you think if the market is pricing that and the Fed doesn't deliver, the market should be disappointed. We actually think many in the market think that the Fed will push back and the Fed will tell the market it's wrong. We don't think so. We think the Fed will retain optionality of having the market price in a rosier outlook. So this is something that I discussed in my video as well. Lily, good evening. Thank you so much for joining in. This is something that we talked about in the video that I just posted, right? Right now, what the market is pricing in, the market is pricing in an increase in interest rates by 2023. So you'll notice how there should be a few officials who now forecast a hike for 2022, but he doesn't expect the Fed to embrace that yet. The Fed funds futures market is pricing in close to one hike in 2022 and 3 hikes by end of 2023. So one hike in 2022 for interest rates, they usually come in at around 10, maybe 25 basis point increases. So if you're trading at roughly 0.05 or 0.1, you can expect that to be trading at 35 basis points and pushing it up to over 0.5%, then pushing it up to over 75 basis points, and then eventually up to over 1% by the end of 2023 if we're looking at 4 hikes by 2023. Now, if that happens sooner than 2023, that's what's going to really disappoint the markets, because right now everybody's pricing in the narrative provided to us by the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. So you think if the market is pricing that in, and if the Fed doesn't deliver, the market should be disappointed. We actually think many in the market think that the Fed will push back and the Fed will tell the market it's wrong. And the Fed could say substantive progress is still some time away. He said he does expect the Fed at some point to change the duration of bonds it's buying and shift towards the long end to keep those rates like a 10-year from rising too much. So that right there is something that I wanted to break down, very, very quickly. And let's take a look at what's going on with the markets right now, and what do we have in terms of what can we watch and understand. All right, so this should be interesting if this works. All right, we'll just reload. Drake, they're not raising rates, they're just providing us with some more color as to what they're planning to do in the future, right? So that's what the market is going to potentially price in. It doesn't have to be, it most certainly won't be this year. It won't certainly most be like maybe even next year, maybe one hike. But that's what the market is pricing in. They're very forward looking, the market is, and they're looking ahead 12, maybe 18 months ahead to really understand what's going to happen. So let's listen to this.
Hike that would be viewed as very hawkish. If you had 2.2 or 2.3% for core PCE and a hike, that would actually be pretty dovish. And so I think getting into that relationship is going to be important.
Hey, John, what's so important here again is I've got to get the Hotsiest look going. I mean, I'm working on it right now.
You want to do this again?
Do you think, John, it
the
works?
note tie thing.
It's great for radio.
Here's the problem I've got. If I take my tie off now, I've got to put it back on. Jan, great to catch up. We won't do it again. Jan Hatzius,
John, thank you,
Chief
brilliant.
Economist and head of
John,
Global
there's some
Economics.
important stuff there, and I mean, it's really, this word threshold mathematically
I feel
is
just
really,
obliged
really
to do this
important.
now. All right.
Oy.
Is it coming off?
Does anyone have a tie I can put on?
For 90 seconds.
I mean, we should do this right now. It's a Hotsiest look. And,
I'll get my own.
it's
The Jan
become-
look. You're going to do the Fed special like this?
No, I'm not. No,
I'm
I'm not
doing
going to.
one button, or are we doing two? What are we doing here?
I'm
One
doing,
button with no tie?
I'm doing
Right.
my co-own button look.
So let's look at some of the stocks here really quickly. So NEO back up over $41, trading as high as 41.84, 4% down still. Tesla's down over 3%. We've got Apple down a little bit, 1.5. Square down over 3. So do you guys see a recovery today? Do you guys see a potential green day, or do you guys think we're gonna see more pain? What do you guys think? Let me know in the live chat if you guys think that the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, is going to come up and say and the markets are going to reverse, or you guys think we're going to see some more pain in the markets. Red, red, red. And this is great. This is awesome. Like, this is what really, really excites me, is that when you see like so much red, it's amazing. Like, I can actually go out and shopping. Like the last week, I wasn't really able to buy anything because the Nasdaq was up over 3%. And this is, again, for everybody new joining in. Let's take a look at how many people we have. And so we have a little bit over 700 people. So this right here was something that I found on Twitter, right? So this was 1 year ago on March 16th. Like 1 year ago, same time this month, March 16th, was the state of the market. How many of you guys remember this day, and how many of you guys were actually invested during this time? Let me know in the live chat if you were actually invested during this time. This was 1 year ago on March 16th, 2020. Look at the markets. Apple down over 12%. We've got Amazon down over 8%. Alibaba down over 8%. Walmart down over 7%. Intel down over 12%. Got Adobe, Oracle, CRM, Salesforce, Microsoft down over 11%. Facebook, Google down over 10%. JP Morgan down over 18%. Bank of America that day was down over 17%. We had Wells Fargo. We had Visa. Right? This is a great reminder about the markets, right, and what they can do. All right, so I was invested, spring sale, blood on the streets. I bought. I remember, and I was invested, not invested. That's what got me in the market April 1st. That's awesome. The timing could not have been better for you, Joe. That's awesome. So look at the healthcare sector. You know, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, like UNH. So even during these times, like even during the pandemic, nobody, like, it was just basically fear driven, right? So you'll notice how even the healthcare companies that were gonna, in a real world, like if you think irrationally, it's a global pandemic, healthcare companies are gonna get us out of it. They were the ones selling off even more than tech. I mean, it's crazy. Energy was also down substantially. So yeah, I mean, this is just a great reminder of what happened about a year ago, and you know, situation is much different now. We're not, in my opinion, in my strong opinion, we're not going to see a crash of over 20%, 25%, because that's gonna put us in another bear market in literally less than 12 months, right? 12 months, we're in 2 bear markets. I don't think that's ever happened. So this is also a shortest bear market that we saw back in March. We quickly recovered and pushed up higher. Interest rates, inflation, you know, we're talking taxes, labor market, all those things are always going to be headwinds in the markets. They're always going to be there, right? It's almost as if like monetary policy is the most important part of the economy and the markets in general, because we always have to keep an eye on where unemployment goes, where taxes go. Taxes, in my opinion, taxes are going to be a much bigger problem than inflation, in my strong opinion, because inflation still has some type of like a reroute. You can still raise interest rates to kind of combat inflation, but with taxes, when they go up, they just go up, right? You can't really do anything about it. Always try to keep reserve cash for days like these. I couldn't agree more. I personally choose somewhere between 10 to 12%. If the markets are running too high, they're getting a little bit overextended, maybe 18 to 20% is what I feel most comfortable with. So, all right, we are seeing some type of a recovery for NEO as well. We're down a little bit over 4% still. We got about 45 minutes for the markets to close. The open. Close. I wish they were closing. We wouldn't have to see any more pain, but Square down a little bit over 3%. FNGU should be like absolutely getting, it's only down 5%, so it's not that bad. Corsair is down a little bit over 3%, Shopify over 2%, Alibaba trading as low as 225 once again. Chris, yeah, you're absolutely right. You can find more deals in a bear market. That is absolutely right. And even like something that I've mentioned before is that you definitely want days when the entire market is red. If there's any stocks that you want to add to your portfolio, if there's any stocks that you're really, really interested in buying, like for example, I want to actually take a position in Square and Shopify right now, but I can't because they've just been running higher. Like Square's been rallying for the last like few weeks before this huge sell-off, and even Shopify was back over $1,000 a share very, very quickly. But the best sell-off or the best buying opportunity comes when you are seeing the broader markets pull back, as opposed to just that individual stock underperforming the broader markets. I hope that makes sense. So when the broader markets are selling off and we're seeing these mass selling pressures coming in because of a macro level impact, or like because of the Federal Reserve, because of rising yields, whatever the case may be, that's in my opinion the best buying opportunity, because it's at no fault of the company, the management. It's strictly based off of the broader markets. So Palantir now back below 25. So we'll see if that support level gets validated today. We'll see that support gets validated. Yesterday it did, but today right now we are still kind of gapping down. NEO is still pushing higher a little bit, back up almost at $42. And Tesla is at $655. Apple is at just shy of 124. So let's take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is down over 1.6. AMD is also down over 1.3%. Pinterest is another stock. If it continues to sell off under like $65 or $69 per share, like I'll definitely consider, like it's down a little bit over 2%, just a little bit more, and I'll definitely start, in my opinion. It's got a lot of potential. What do you guys think about Pinterest right now? Do you guys think Pinterest has a lot of potential in the future in terms of growth? So we're still consolidating sideways while the yields are up over 3%. So yields pushing up to 1.669. So let's take a look at the yields here. So yields again pushing higher aggressively, almost at 1.67. So we'll keep the VIX and the VXN over here on a split chart. Magnus, that's a great question. If I see the taxes are going to rise, in my strong opinion, it's kind of a hard, basically a hard prediction, but in my opinion, they could, yes, because the new administration is very keen on increasing long-term capital gains tax and corporate tax rates. But again, the closer we can get to like 2022 for that decision to actually go through, the better for the market, so to speak, because next year is also going to be the midterm elections. We're going to have a congressional year, so it'll be that much harder for the new administration to actually raise taxes, because in my opinion, if taxes go up, that is potentially going to act as some type of a headwind for the markets in general. And I also posted like a summary briefing of everything that was discussed from ARK Invest, from Kathy Wood during the 40-minute market briefing. I posted that to our Patreon, and I also posted a lot of different analysis and research. You'll get access to the PDFs, a lot of Excel files. I post that regularly. You'll get access to the trading view charts as well, our private Discord, and our growth portfolio. So there's a lot of different value additions if you want to check it out. Again, you don't have to, but again, the link is going to be down in the description below if you want to be a member. So NEO is seeing some type of recovery since we got live, so pushing up a little bit. So pre-market, we are up a little bit over 1% from lows of $41, $42 per share. Tesla has also pushed up from lows of $650, and let's take a look at Apple here. Palantir is still down over 3.75. QuantumScape is down over 1.8. It had a really bad day yesterday. It was down over 8%. Was there any news behind QuantumScape for it to be down over 8%? So Plug Power was also down over 8%. Jesus, it's down over 13% right now. What's going on with Plug Power? Wow. They didn't report earnings, did they? Did they do like, what happens to them? Plug Power to buy hydrogen liquefaction system from Chart Industries. So this actually came out pre-market Wednesday. That Plug Power has placed an order of 2 15-ton per day hydrogen liquefaction plants. Austin, 2 p.m. is when he's going to address the markets or the press release or the media. Jerome Powell is going to address everybody at 2 p.m. Financial revision issues. A lawsuit, some people say. I mean, this right here. I mean, this can just be like is Plug Power one of the stocks that is shorted heavily? So let me see if I can actually find that. But anyway, it's down over 13%. I mean, it's trading as low as what? $36.60. We're definitely breaking down below this sort of support level. Plug has some accounting issues, financial statement issues. That's good to know. All right, let's take a look at some of the banks and see where they're trading. Or let's take a look at some of the other sort of growth stocks. So Riot was down a little bit over Mara was down over 11% yesterday. It's down another 3% today. We got NNDM also down. It was down over 10% yesterday. Jeez. The markets really turned yesterday, right? I mean, I put out the market update this morning, and we were up like close to 1% on the Nasdaq, and then we actually like went all the way down towards the end to be just up 9 basis points. There was a lot of weakness coming in for the Nasdaq towards the end of the towards the close. So we have Riot down another 3%. We got BioNano down over 6%. BioNano Genomics has come down substantially from the highs, like $15 to right now trading at $8. GHVI Matterport was down over 9% yesterday, 5% today. We got Plug Power 8% yesterday, 13% today. We got DermTech. DermTech has been on a rally. Like this stock, absolutely, like when this thing got away like around here, I just didn't feel like chasing this at all, and it went from $50 all the way to highs of over 85. And like coming in from December, in December 2020, it was trading at 13 bucks and traded all the way to highs of $83. I was in the middle of doing my fundamental analysis. This thing just really got away very, very quickly. Like on one day, you guys will notice that it was up like close to 31%. Absolutely incredible. All right, APPS. Let's take a look at AI. AI has also been selling off. I still need to do my earnings breakdown on that company. So Pubmatic is down over 2.85. This thing again was very, very volatile. If you guys were to notice, like Pubmatic support validated at 45, even it came down to like 38, the second support level, before absolutely taking off and having like a 100% gain to $75, and then back down to the support at 45. Like this was so volatile. And then right now it's just hovering in between that range, between $58, that's the resistance, and then $51 is the new support. Got Etsy was down over 3%, another down 2.5% today. We got Wayfair was down over 3, down over 1.65 today. Roku was down 2.5, down another 2% today. The overall market is also down. The overall market, that's going to be SPY and QQQs. Let's bring down the QQQs. So that's going to be the QQQs. We are down a little bit over 1% right now. And for the SPY, we are down close to 30 basis points. So that's been kind of like the range within which we've been trading for a really long time. Alright, let's just go back to this and also Plug was way down even more. So it was trading as low as $32. So we have rallied close to 13% pre-market. So it gapped down. I mean, it was down a little bit more than that. Wow. Tesla and NIO are making some recovery, not so much, but some recovery. We'll see if that actually comes through when the market's open. We got Redfin was down over 2%, down another 3.5%. CrowdStrike was down over 2%, up over 2% pre-market today. So let me add ABNB on this list, and then I'll also add Roblox. So Roblox was up yesterday. Pre-market is down a little bit over 2%. How many of you guys are actually invested in Roblox? What do you guys think? Valuation-wise, company-wise, are you guys bullish, bearish, undervalued, overvalued? What do you guys think about Roblox? So we'll start breaking down some stocks at around 9 a.m. Just have about one more minute. I just want to quickly go over some other things, and then we'll start. All right, so I have a little bit over 800 people watching. So again, I'll take all those recommendations and stocks, and then we'll start our notepad, and I'll break down all those companies to watch support level wise, and what levels we can watch moving forward remainder of today, and I'll put them on the notepad, and then we can kind of go over those.
Pressure on the yuan, we did see some pressure on the futures. That is now being reversed.
All right, so before we take any suggestions for stocks, I just want you guys to tell me where you're from. That's all I need. And again, if you guys are more than welcome to mention the state or the country. Again, talk to each other, engage about the markets, and we're here to kind of collaborate with each other, share ideas, share analysis, and help each other with investing and you know, learning and growing together. So let me know where you guys are from, so we can start. Again, it's 9 a.m., so I got 30 minutes left. It's Cambodia, Singapore, Malaysia. Again, that's awesome. Singapore, welcome, welcome, welcome. That's awesome. UK, London, Venezuela. I've been there. I've been to Venezuela, UK, and Malaysia. London, I've also been to. Toronto, I'm planning on going there, but Poland, I've never been. I want to. United States, I was there for 5 years. US, Canada, Singapore, California. That's awesome. That's fantastic. All right, so let's talk about some stocks. I'm going to bring up the notepad, and we will get this going. So, all right. So you guys already know the Fed is speaking at around 2 p.m. Eastern with the Federal Reserve after they conclude the meeting. Very, very, very important for the interest rates, inflation, taxes, labor. Not so much for taxes, but the labor market. They're going to give us some more color as to where they see the monetary policy going in the future. Again, thank you so much for joining. I really, really appreciate all of you guys. Make sure that you guys drop a like. It really helps out with the channel and pushes this stream out to other people as well. So again, welcome from Germany, from New Jersey. I am in, can anybody guess? Can anybody guess where I am? Give you guys a hint. It's 6:30 p.m. here where I'm at. India, yes, you are right. Yeah, so I'm in India. Perfect. You guys are right. So, all right, we're going to go over Tesla first. So Tesla, 656, that's where we're trading right now. We are trading below $660 right now. We'll see if that level continues to get validated. Right now, pre-market, we are breaking down. So again, what is one of the things that I mentioned in my previous videos for Tesla stock, right? Yesterday, we put out a video, and the day before I put out a video going over, you know, that we're making progress. We're making progress, that Tesla, even if it does pull back, is okay, right? That's something that we can expect. The only time I will be a lot more concerned about Tesla's price action is if we come down. So let me actually go ahead and draw this once again. So the only time I would be concerned about Tesla's price action is if we are coming down to make a horizontal low once again. So if you come down to 550, or if we break down even further to come down to 470, that's going to be the support level next, right below that level. So you'll notice how the 200 simple moving average kind of aligns well here. So that's going to be the black line at 470, 475, aligned with this previous resistance. So we have so much resistance here for Tesla, which in my opinion should act as some type of a support. But right now, you know, we are down a little bit over 2%, trading as low as 657. $660 is going to be very, very important. That's also aligned with this 100 daily simple moving average, right? So if I were to kind of remove these, Dio, I can't. That's one of the challenges, that I can't invest in Bitcoin. I can't trade or invest in cryptos either. So it's very, very challenging. And maybe I'll do a video on it later at some point. But for Tesla right now, 100 daily simple moving average, the pink line is going to be very important right now. And you'll notice pre-market, we're trading exactly above that level. So, you know, that's a sign of progress, in my opinion, is that it's okay for patterns to pull back. So even if Tesla comes down to 660 or 620, that's the level, right? So that is basically going to be some type of higher lows. So you'll notice that we would be making some type of higher lows and higher highs. When patterns usually sell off like this, they don't go up like that, you know, eventually. What happens is they will sell off, they will push up, they'll sell off even further. Then when the pattern kind of shifts, they will push up, pull back, push up, pull back, push up, and then they'll make progress in terms of higher highs and higher lows, right? So that right there is what we're expecting for Tesla on the day. So if you're looking at Tesla, if you're looking to day trade, invest in long term, considering you've done a lot of research, the support level to watch would be $660 today, along with support at 620, considering depending on how much we sell off intraday. I personally do not see Tesla retesting lows of 620 unless Federal Reserve like Jerome Powell comes out and says something absolutely crazy. But in terms of resistance, keep a close eye at those moving averages. So yesterday we got rejected at 707. The day before we got rejected at 713. So keep a close eye at 720, so to speak, because that's where the moving averages kind of align. And we've also had previous resistance right here at $720. So for Tesla, 660 support on the day, all the way as low as 620, and the resistance to watch is 720. I personally do not see a retest of 720 today. Maybe a retest of 700 and then getting rejected at that level, maybe if we see any type of a recovery intraday. But more than likely, $660 either will act as some type of a support or a resistance for Tesla on the day. All right, so what is going to be the next stock? What are we looking at next? All right, let's look at NIO really quickly. So for NIO, we've also covered yesterday, we talked about how this again is going to be signs of progress. Right now we are trading below $44. That right there was the level. And it was no surprise, right? Yesterday, what happened with NIO stock? What happened with NIO stock if I were to show you guys just this part? So this right here, yesterday's close. What was yesterday's close for NIO stock and what ended up happening after? So if you guys have been keeping up with the NIO analysis, you guys know what was the support level we were watching and what happened yesterday that NIO actually did for the pattern. So let me know in the live chat and then we'll go back to taking more suggestions and analysis, and I'll put it in the notes as well. But what do you guys think for NIO? What was the support level we were watching and then what happened yesterday after this 2.7% pullback? So what do you guys think for NIO? What was the support level that we were watching yesterday? So we basically were talking about $44, right? $44 support at 43 or $44, call it, because that right there was a level, right? We talked about this in my previous videos, and we talked about how those moving averages right here, we got the 21 EMA, perfect rejection at that level for the second time. So you'll notice we push up, we got rejected at that 21 EMA, and right now we are pulling back once again. So we turned that level, this right here, into the next resistance, because now NIO is going to struggle again to break out over 44. If you do come down to 38.50, that right there is going to be the next support level to watch, right? For NIO, that level sits at 38.50, and again, a sign of progress for NIO is going to be a potential retest of this level, consolidation, and then breakout of 44, breakout over 50, and then come back down to retest $50, and then break out over 60, come back down to revalidate 55, and that right there are going to be some higher highs and some higher lows, and an uptrending pattern for NIO stock, as opposed to basically just coming down and then potentially even sort of breaking down below 30.50, coming down to retest $30. That's going to be a horizontal support, and that is basically not a sign of progress, because we're coming down to retest lows from March 5th, right? So we're coming back from the first week of March. Then it's going to be a little bit of a side cause for concern for myself, and then a breakdown below $30 is going to be even uglier for NIO stock. So what we want to see is we want to see a validation of 38.50. So that right there is going to be the support level. I want you guys to keep an eye out for remainder of today, remainder of this week, going into next week. So support is going to be sitting at 30.50, and the resistance, which has now turned into a resistance since we broke down, is going to be $44. All right, so yeah, you guys are absolutely right. So 44 was the level we were watching. We broke down, and since we broke down below that support, it's no surprise that NIO stock is selling off, and it could flush down to the next support, which is at 30.50. So we're down a little bit over 4%. So very, very normal in terms of making progress for the stock. The only question is whether this 38.50 will get validated, or if this level will also get broken once again, right? Martin, thank you so much for joining in from Slovakia. That's awesome. Congratulations. Really appreciate you. All right, so what is going to be the next stock? Let's take a look. All right, so let's take a look at XPEV very, very quickly. Let's see if you have anything on there. So Xpeng, there we go. So we had a perfect bottom bounce for Xpeng. I think the last couple of days we've been up. We retested 37.57 here. We validated that resistance before selling off. Again, previous support, resistance here. We talked about this in our, actually I put out a video like, what is it today? Today's Wednesday. I put out a video over the weekend going over Workhorse, Xpeng, Li Auto, and CCIV. And I mentioned, that I would not be surprised if we see some bullish sentiment for these stocks because they've been beaten down so heavily, and we are also seeing some type of a bullish crossover for the MACD line over the signal line for the R side to also start pushing higher. And right now we are getting rejected at this previous resistance, this support, this resistance at 37.50 levels. The only level it needs to kind of validate today, although we are trading below $34, below $35, so we're trading at $34.50. So the support level we'll be watching today for Xpeng is going to be $31. That right there is going to be the next level, right here. So again, that right there is going to be the next support level to watch for Xpeng, because previously you guys will notice that we validated that support before pushing higher, and right now we are getting rejected at this level. So yesterday was a massive doji candle. High for the day 37.39. So again, getting a lot of resistance at that level. And pre-market we are pulling back. So that right there, although pre-market you guys will notice a 4-hour chart shows a little bit of a different story. Again, very, very important for us to understand because it's still kind of sitting perfectly above the 21 EMA and the 50 EMA. So very important. I'll put a near-term support for Xpeng. So near-term support is going to be sitting roughly at 34.15 for Xpeng, all the way as low as $31. So those are going to be two support levels to watch for Xpeng moving forward, and the resistance is going to stay put at $37, I believe it was. 37.45. 37.45 is going to be the next resistance that we need to watch for Xpeng moving forward. Again, that's the resistance. Once we break out on the daily chart over that resistance, then we can make an argument, all right, so the bulls are regaining control, and that, the R side of the MACD does have a lot of room to the upside. It's literally like the beginning of the move of what we're seeing for the MACD and the R side. We'll see if that actually pushes up higher. So next up, we're going to talk about advanced micro devices, AMD. So AMD on the day, you guys will notice it was up 30 basis points, but it was up a little bit over 2%. So it was trading as $84.75. So very, very weak day for advanced micro devices. Pre-market we're down another 1% because of this sell-off that we're seeing. But $81 is going to be the next support, and AMD is still trading inside this sort of downtrending channel, making lower highs and lower lows. And this has just been the pattern for advanced micro devices, right? You guys will notice we're just like boop, boop, selling off, back and forth, back and forth. So what we need to see is we need to see some consolidation and a breakout over $88 per share. That right there, the most important resistance for advanced micro devices, perhaps in my opinion, is going to be $88 per share for advanced micro devices. And support is going to be sitting at $81 first. So that level right here, all the way as low as $73. So two levels to watch for AMD in terms of support. I personally strongly believe that this level right here will get validated at $81 right here as a support for advanced micro devices, and we're not going to see a retest of $74. Like, I'd be surprised if we see a retest of $74 again for AMD, but again, I would be very heavily, more than likely be buying at those levels once again, because long term I'm very bullish on advanced micro devices. So support, we're going to be watching 81 all the way as low as 74, and the resistance we're watching at $88. Very, very strong resistance at $88 right here, so keep that in mind. All right, let's take a look at DraftKings. So you got 17 minutes till the market opens. For DraftKings, this right here was a resistance. So you guys will notice it was a very, very perfect pattern, right? And this is exactly what I'm talking about in terms of patterns when they make progress, when they push higher, when they start making higher highs and higher lows. And that's actually a good thing when every time the pattern pulls back during this uptrend, right? Because it gives us the opportunity to buy the pullback and buy the dip, so to speak. So buy the dip only happens when patterns are in an uptrend and not in a downtrend, right? Downtrend, you're not or like, and that's happened to me too. Like I've personally done that, and that's completely okay as long as we know what we're doing, right? On a downtrend, when I'm buying stocks, I'm not buying them on the dip. I'm basically catching them like going down. When you're buying them going up, that's when you're buying the dip because they're already on an uptrend and they're just pulling back short term and while keeping the uptrend over the long term. And that's exactly what happened for DraftKings. Is that you'll notice it's been on a consistent uptrend, right? Very, very strong pattern for DraftKings, making higher highs here and making higher lows over here. So it has been on this sort of uptrending channel after making some type of asymmetrical wedge. So what I'll do is I'll actually go ahead and clean this chart up a little bit. So I will go ahead and remove these lines, and it's validated that $45 support here. So 45 here validated perfectly, and this is coming back from January 5th. So you'll notice that support right here got validated. We had a double top resistance here, so those two red arrows you guys see on the chart at $54. We struggled and then we finally broke out. We retested 64 here, and this right here was an area right here. Why do you guys think this right here was a resistance for DraftKings? And I want you guys to answer in the live chat as well. Why do you guys think that this right here, the $64 level, was a resistance? $64.50 was a resistance for DraftKings when it got rejected and then sold off all the way down to 54 once again. What do you guys think? Why would that be? We'll go over Palantir in just a second. We'll definitely go over Palantir and then CCIV as well. And then I'll go over some other stocks as well. I'll go over BNGO, Jivo, NNDM, Plug Power, GoPro as well for all of you guys. But in order for me to do that, I want you guys to be engaged as well. Just let me know if there's any questions, and make sure that you drop that like button as well. Because it was the previous high, definitely, yes. So you're absolutely right. It was a previous high here, and not only that, it was an intersection between this higher low, or higher high, excuse me. So this right here is going to be the higher high that's perfectly sitting right there along with this horizontal high. So you got that double intersection, perfect resistance area for DraftKings, sold out down to 54, and right now you guys will notice that we're back testing those higher highs once again. So what I will do is I will go ahead and turn this $64 into the next support level to watch for DraftKings. So that right there is going to be the new support for DraftKings because we just broke out over that resistance level, and in my opinion that level will start acting as a new support for DraftKings. So the next support for DraftKings is going to sit at 64.75. So that right there is going to be the level, and resistance we're going to be watching this level at close to $74. So that right there is going to be the next resistance to keep in mind for DraftKings at close to $74 per share. Again, huge uptrending channel, and it's been making those higher highs, higher lows. Even if it comes down to this $64, that right there again is going to be validated from two different fronts or intersection for this higher low. And again, all resistance acting as a new support for DraftKings moving forward. Alright, so support 64.75 and resistance at $74 for DraftKings moving forward. Alright, so let's go over to Palantir. So Palantir is still down a little bit over close to 3.944%. And yesterday, if you guys did get a chance to watch my video, what was something that we had discussed? And again, I want you guys to be a little bit more engaged. I talked about Palantir stock and what was one of the things that we had talked about in that video for Palantir. It was a really interesting video, by the way. If you guys haven't checked it out, I would highly encourage you guys to watch it. We go over the short interest on Palantir, which has dropped down like substantially, right? It's gone down for Palantir like over the last cycle. It's come down, and there's a very small percentage of total shares outstanding that are currently shorted for Palantir. So what were we talking about Palantir if you guys did get a chance to watch the video? So $25 definitely getting broken pre-market. We're trading as low as $24.60. So what I will do is I will go ahead and turn that level into a resistance, right? So that right there is going to be the next resistance for us to watch. But right now, you know, we talked about how there's only about 4% of total shares outstanding or public float that are currently being shorted. So the short interest has gone down substantially. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So, so 2250 is going to be the next support, right? So that right there is going to be the next level that we need to watch intraday today. So I will go ahead and turn that for Palantir as the next support at 2250. I mean, this is something that we have discussed, right? And $25 is going to be the level to watch intraday, all the way as high as $30. Call it 27 first because we've got the moving averages here. And then also you'll notice that we are making lower highs, right? We've got lower highs right here. It's just getting rejected, and I mentioned that, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we come down remainder of this week, kind of consolidate above 2250, and then we see a breakout similar to what we saw over here. So it was making lower highs, horizontal lows, so to speak, so lower highs, horizontal lows here before we saw a breakout to the upside over $44, $45 per share, right? So that right there is going to be the analysis. The short interest is really low. Palantir is a solid company in my opinion, long-term position on this that we have in the growth portfolio. If you guys want to get access to the growth portfolio and get access to my buy and sell alerts, private Discord, our trading view charts. So all this analysis is, by the way, available to you guys. So everything is going to be literally like this. If you click on that link, it'll open up TradingView. You don't need to have a subscription for it. It's absolutely free. As long as you're part of our Patreon, you'll get access to those links and you'll be able to look at it yourself, right? Any stock that you choose, as long as I've done an analysis on it, you'll be able to get those price targets, those different areas of support and resistance levels. So next up, so for Palantir, support 2250, resistance 25, all the way as high as $27 per share. So that's going to be a resistance right here. So Brandon Powell speaks at around 2 p.m. Eastern is when he will be talking to the press and talking about everything, the monetary policy. I'm excited. I'm very excited. How many of you guys are actually excited about the markets to open today? Square down over 2.89%. Nicholas, man, selling off. Entire market is pulling back. But 260, 245 is going to be the next resistance to watch. I'm eagerly waiting. I honestly want Square to go up, but I also want to establish a position. So maybe I'll start at 215 if it does come down to that level, or maybe as low as $200. 215 is a more likely scenario for Square. Something that we have discussed in my previous videos, a 8% drop. You know, similar to what we've already talked about for the Nasdaq, for the volatility, for the yields. If they continue to go up, that's going to act as some type of a headwind for the markets in general. Interesting. There will be a lost decade, but it will start after 2023. That is an interesting analysis. And yeah, I mean, if I really start thinking about it, I could see the rate hikes, quantitative tightening, the rising level of debt. It's just really like when you have these conversations about the world economy, you really have to understand, well, what's going to happen in like 10 years, right? Is dollar still going to be the most dominating currency like in the world? Like, is it still going to hold its value? Like, what's going to happen with cryptos? What's going to happen with regulations, right? It's just so many things that you just like, it's very difficult. It's getting more and more difficult to picture what the world's going to look like 10 years from now because of how fast technology is moving, right? So, I mean, it's just really hard for us to really understand, well, what is going to be the future 10 years from now, right? We know there's going to be specific industries that are going to do really, really well because that's where the world is going towards. But again, what companies are going to be there? What companies are going to survive? Which ones are not? It's pretty interesting times right now. All right, so we covered Square. So support, in my opinion, 215 all the way as low as 200. And then resistance is going to be at 245 for Square. All right, so we got about 7 minutes for the markets to open. I'm going to quickly set up these charts and I'm going to break down some more stocks. But to give you guys a quick update, we got Plug Power down over 12%, but a massive push higher pre-market. Like, look at this push higher. It's absolutely coming in from lows of $33 to over $38. It's up over 15%, just pre-market lows in general. Apple down about 1.29. We got NIO down over 4. We got Tesla down over almost 3. Hayden, that's a great question. I'm probably not going to be up by then. When 2 p.m. here, 2 p.m. over there is probably going to be like, yeah, so it's after the markets. No, it's 2 hours before the markets close. It's going to be 11:30 p.m. It's actually not that late, if you think about it. So maybe I'll see if I can do a live during that time. Yeah, it's a weak uptrend in pre-market. I agree. It's coming off of very low volumes. Of course, pre-market is not as liquid as when the markets are actually open. So it's really interesting for us to see whether the markets are going to be able to sustain this move or not. Let's listen to if there's anything going on at Bloomberg. 5 minutes to the open. So GameStop is up over 6% right now. AMC is up over 2% right now. And we've only got a couple banks that are up in the green, but that's about it. And everything else, like GameStop, is the only stock right now that's amongst my watch list that is in the green, and then everything else is in the red. Another shopping day, guys. Another shopping day for everybody. What is your one stock? Comment one stock that you guys have a really high conviction on. So thank you so much for that donation. I really appreciate that. Let me actually go ahead and check out CHEK very quickly, and then we'll kind of set up for market open. We got about 4 minutes left. Wow. I wonder what happened here. Huge gap ups and intraday selling pressure. Was up over 100% on this day. And then it literally just sold off from $4.45 all the way to lows of $3. And even yesterday it was down over 22%. So we'll have to go to shorter time frames. Again, earnings wise, I am not sure what they're going to be reporting. I haven't done research on this company. So this is going to be strictly from a technical standpoint. So we got NIO, Palantir, Tesla, Apple. Nice. So in terms of a support, keep a close eye at this level for CHEK. I'd say like right around 225. Again, previous resistance, potentially a new support, validating that 21 EMA as well. It's been selling off aggressively. The RSI come down. We saw a bearish crossover for the MACD below the signal line as well. So that right there is going to be the support level to watch, at least in the near term, at least today. We're trading exactly at 224 right now. So if you do break down, below this level, then the next support is going to be aligned with this sort of 50 exponential moving average, all the way as low as 147. So that right there is going to be the level below 225. Just from a technical standpoint, like this has been an incredible selling pressure for this stock. I mean, 50% drop in like 2 days is very substantial. So again, depending on the earnings and why the reason behind this sell-off, I could see the pattern kind of consolidating sideways. That's the most important thing with any selling pressure that you see, is that we need to see it getting exhausted, and the pattern needs to start consolidating sideways in order for us to make any type of a recovery moving forward. Ramkumar, it's going to be Tesla. It's going to be Tesla. Tesla is going to be one of the stocks that I have a lot of conviction in for the next 10 years. With energy, solar, you got electric vehicles, you got autonomous driving, insurance. I mean, there's just, I just feel like Tesla is going to be really there to change the world with their tech in the future as well. Like it's a stock that if it drops down to 550 or 400 or even $375, $380 per share, I will be definitely considering adding more shares to my current position. So, all right, so this right here is going to be the SPY. This is going to be the QQQs. We got less than 2 minutes for the markets to open. Hope you guys are very excited. The NIO is down a little bit over 4%. Tesla also down over 3%. And then we're going to look into some other stocks here. So I'm going to put up Palantir bottom right. We're down over 4%. We got Apple also down over 1% right now. So we'll see if that actually pushes higher, what that's going to look like moving forward. Jerry, all right, so we're going to very quickly break down Alibaba if we can before the markets open. We got about 1 minute left. So $210 is going to be the next support level to watch. I mean, that's going to be, or there's going to be one more support level right here at close to 225. That's going to be the level right here to watch for Alibaba stock. Again, that's a level coming in from, let's take a look. So this is support level coming in from January 2021. So earlier this year, we kind of validated that support. And the next resistance for Alibaba is going to be sitting right here at close to $230 a share. Kind of aligned with those two moving averages, the 21 EMA and the 50 EMA. We're getting rejected at those levels right now. All right, so we got 3 minutes, 3 seconds, and here we go. Let's take a look if the markets actually have any type of recovery left, or if we're going to price in the Fed very, very quickly after 2 p.m., depending on what he says. The yields are pushing higher. They're up over 2.6% right now, so we'll see if they actually continue to push up higher, or if we see any type of a pullback for the yields. So we got QQQs on to your right, we got SPYs to your left, and then this right here is going to be a chart for all the other stocks. We got Tesla down over 3, we got Palantir down over 4.5, and we got NEO down over 4, and we got Apple down over 1.28. So more and more selling pressure coming in, right? The NASDAQ is down over 1%. SPY is down over 40 basis points. So wow, SPY is selling off faster than the NASDAQ right now. Here we go. Let's bring out those VWAPs as well. Oh, a lot of buying pressure coming in. We'll see if that actually sustains or not. I honestly, I think there's gonna be more downside before the FOMC, but we'll see. I mean, I'd be more than okay with the FOMC kind of stabilizing the markets a little bit, so to speak. But again, a lot of it we already know what they're gonna say. Like, there's no surprises, right? Investors, markets, we already know. The only thing is the timeline, right? We need to really understand what the timeline looks like for everything. We know rates are going up. We know that inflation is going to potentially go up. But when, right? When is the real question? The timeline is a real question. And when are they going to withdraw from the monetary policy? A lot of buying pressure coming in. So QQQ with a massive push higher and sort of all right, let's take a look at, so Tesla moving up a little bit. Apple always with the intradays, always at the open. It's like tradition for Apple to at least sell off the first 15 minutes as soon as the market's open. But like, look at the red. Look at just straight up across the board. We got GME and AMC are the only two stocks that are currently green. But everything else is like, Plug is down 15, CCIB down over 6, Lemonade down over 5. We got Enphase down over 5.7. We got Palantir down over 4. We got Fubo TV. We got Grow Generation NEO. We got IPOE. We got Fiverr, Square, Shopify, Unity Software, Corsair, Tesla. Qualcomm down over 2%. And NDM, Baidu. I think NEO is going to pull back even more. Tesla hovering around 660. There we go. Pulling back a little bit more. SPY is just back and forth on the 1 minute chart. It's just like going up and down. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull up. Ooh, the NASDAQ really, really pushing down.
Plug Power and GameStop, each lower by something like 15% just on the week, while Peloton Interactive, a stay-at-home favorite, is down by 6%, weighed down by that reopening narrative. And
so Plug Power, GameStop, Peloton.
With $1.9 trillion in fiscal stimulus that has driven so much of the optimism we've seen. But as Mike Wilson said, the impact of that could be front-loaded. Deutsche Bank Binky Chadha agrees with this. He says he continues to expect equities to run up in the near term, but then in the second quarter, when growth peaks, he expects a pullback. A boom from stimulus may end up with a little bit of a bust in the longer term, John.
Katie, thank you. I think it's really important to recognize something pretty obvious. We haven't seen peak growth yet. This is a conversation about peak growth expectations, whether we've got to that inflection point, and whether it's the time to shift into reverse in this rotation. And Morgan Stanley have really contributed to that debate over the last 24 hours. I'm pleased to say that Matt Hornback joins us from Morgan Stanley now, and Jared Woodard of Bank of America.
So let's listen to this
Jared,
for a little bit.
I want to start with a note from you, sir, that really plays into this call as well. It's something that you've got to say when you say, buy the growth dips and sell the value rips. And I'm going to quote you at the moment. Temporary inflation spikes and market overshoots and cyclicals, commodities and value stocks are good opportunities to take profits. And we'd be buying prudent yield banks and small US growth stocks on the dips, including big tech at super support levels, rather. Jared, what's behind that?
Hey, John, but I mean, the reason behind those investment conclusions is simply that concerns and fears about an inflation overshoot, about rapidly higher, shockingly higher bond yields, we think are all concerns that are overdone. We think instead that the fears that large fiscal stimulus, aid around COVID, and easy Fed the concern this is going to cause high inflation isn't supported by the data. We looked at where the cash is today, where the stimulus checks are going, and what people plan to do about it, and both the data from the Federal Reserve, our survey data, all suggests that we'll see some increase in spending, especially around leisure and travel, but that most of the cash is in the hands of folks who don't tend to spend anyway, the top 20% or so of households. And even the stimulus checks that are going out today, consumers told us in our survey that about half, even of the lowest income bracket, don't intend to spend the checks that they're getting.
Matt, add to this if you can, because you've done some important work and put out an important note in the last 24 hours about where we are in this cycle. We're talking about the boom up front. You and the team, the strategy team, are already talking about mid-cycle, early cycle story, rear view mirror.
Yeah, John, hey, thanks for having me on. Look, we definitely see this cycle as running hotter than previous cycles, I think for good reasons. The question ultimately is, though, does it then run shorter because of the reaction function of the central bank to an economy that, by all looks of it, is going to be outperforming the Fed's expectations? We're going to get an update on that today, John, to see just how more optimistic the Fed's projections have become vis-a-vis growth. But I think the more important issue for the bond market, at least, is how does that translate into their unemployment rate forecast? How does the unemployment rate forecast translate into their inflation forecast? Because in order to put a rate hike in the dot plot, John, the Fed has to be forecasting higher than 2% core inflation. And it's unclear whether this stimulus, which they've been describing as transitory, is going to give them enough confidence to do that.
Well, I think Jared's touched on a key variable here. Jared, how difficult or easy is it to know what's going to happen on the consumption side? What will happen to those savings that have been built up over the last 12 months? And what will happen to where those checks go that have been delivered in the last week or so?
Yeah, I think there's two pieces to this that are really important. Number one is, where is the cash today? We looked at the Federal Reserve data in liquid assets, cash, money market accounts, and so on, to see, where is the capital? There's these lots of cash on household balance sheets, but we found that there's about 10 trillion of the total 15 or so that's in the hands of the top 20% of households. Now we know historically those folks don't tend to spend, by the same degree at all as folks lower down in the income bracket. There's about 2 trillion in the next decile, and then just about 3 trillion in the 0 to 60% range of households. So there's that huge inequality that everyone's familiar with. That's the status quo. If we just look at...
Is the stream still cutting off a little bit? Let me take a look. So is the stream still working, or is it still kind of cutting off? But the Nasdaq, wow, taking a beating. The QQ is down almost 1.5%. The SPY is still up there, down about 0.5% right now. All good, okay. So yeah, I mean, what they're saying is that the fears of inflation and the fears of rising yields are kind of overdone, and they're kind of positioning themselves back into tech, and they're seeing those as key support levels as buying opportunities. Stream keeps buffering, or it's working, or yeah, guys, I do apologize in advance. I mean, the internet connection is just having a lot of issues, and I'm trying to get that resolved as quickly as possible. But as long as it's like, okay, as long as it's working and you guys are able to see the screen and hear me okay, and there's just like minor lags or buffers, then it's fine. All right, let's take a look at some of the other stocks. So Apple, of course, every single minute since we've opened has been red. Like, this is a straight up, look at the trend. NEO now starting to rip higher at over $42. 42, 43. Tesla again is pulling back. Palantir is also kind of consolidating sideways right now. So Square is down over 4 now, 233. We got Palantir over 4, Eliminate over 7, Plug Power over 12, CCIV over 7%. So instead of Palantir, let's go ahead and put CCIV over here. So CCIV had a great day yesterday, right? I mean, I think it had a great day yesterday or the day before. It was up like 11% or like 8% or something. But NEO definitely ripping higher, kind of parring those losses. Got SPY pushing. Let's take a look at where we are with the horse race on the day. We're going to go over to the day. And, alright, so this is going to be today. We've got, no surprise, we've got energy leading, 1.3%. Let's take a look at some of the energy stocks here. I thought they were red pre-market. They may have turned green. So, yep, ExxonMobil, Chevron are up. We got materials, and then financials are going to be the second and the third sectors leading the pack for the S&P 500. Not by a lot, but still somewhat reasonable. So yep, Wells Fargo up over 2.6, Citigroup, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs are all up, and then tech is the last sector. It's the lagging sector selling off. So Apple is seeing some type of buying pressure come in, but I think we're just going to continue to sell off for Apple at least. I mean, it's going to get rejected here, and we're going to make some lower highs and lower lows. You of all people should have fast tech support. That's true. That is true. But yeah, I'm still trying to get like the fiber optic. That's kind of like the hardwire LAN that I'm gonna plug into my computer, and hopefully it works out fine. Alright, let's take a look at Shopify. So CCIV is down over 7, almost 7%. Let's have a Teladoc. It's down over 7%. Wow. Teladoc also selling off incredibly here. So this right here for Teladoc, the support level to watch today is going to be sitting at 182. We're still getting rejected by those moving averages, so again, it's no surprise that we're coming down. And the resistance is going to be at 200. So if you are someone who wants to trade or invest in Teladoc, those right there are going to be some levels to watch. And the resistance is going to be at 200. So there we go. Apple getting rejected and selling off even further. We got NEO and Tesla also struggling a little bit. Still down, still red on the day though. What do you guys think? Are we gonna turn green or red on the day? Let me know in the live chat if you guys are thinking green or red for the Nasdaq before or after the FOMC meeting. Ivan, that's a great question. So today's your first day investing. Congratulations on taking the first step. That's awesome. So what stocks do you recommend in a nice broad portfolio? Definitely, I mean, in my strong opinion, I have a very high weighting on tech. We covered tech extensively on the channel. We've covered FANG stocks. We've covered a lot of other high growth tech names like Neo, Tesla, Palantir, Square, PayPal that are not necessarily big tech or FANG names, but in my opinion, having a really good mix of a lot of different industries or sectors, so to speak. So I personally have been building out a different portfolio that has semiconductors and chipsets. So I've been looking into TSMC, I've been looking into AMD and NVIDIA. In terms of EVs, energy, and solar, I've been looking into Enphase Energy, Tesla, Neo, and I've been looking into, there's one more, Nextera Energy is another one. So ticker symbol NEE is something that I've considered personally. I've done a lot of research in. And then in terms of social media / tech, I think Facebook, Pinterest are really good plays in my opinion. We've also looked into Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Alibaba. We've looked into Fiverr, Upwork is sort of like that gig economy. Palantir, of course, is another one that I've done a lot of videos on and done a lot of research in. Jason, time, it's at 2 p.m. The meeting is at 2 p.m. For the press release is at 2 p.m. for the Federal Reserve. So bloody red, big red. Let's go Tesla. So Neo again pulling back a little bit. Tesla is trying to push higher, and Teladoc is also pulling back. Let's take a look at Palantir. So let's take a look at what's gaining right now. So what is this stock? ZCMD. Actually, let me pull that up over here just for fun. We're gonna go over this very, very quickly. So ZCMD, probably a huge catalyst on this stock. It's up over 79%, 80 million market cap. So definitely a very low float stock. Contract with the China Association of Health Promotion Education came out today. We've got huge, HUGE, we got PUYE. Percentage change losers. Let's take a look at the ones that are down the most. So SUMR, not a lot of volume. So is there anything that's... So Plug is on the list, definitely is down over almost 12%. So I'll see if I will actually be doing the live stream, but I think it should be covered on pretty much any news source, right? I mean, he's speaking with the press release, he's going to be delivering a statement, but if you go over to his website, the official government website for the Federal Reserve, so that's going to be, let's take a look. So that's going to be federalreserve.gov. You should be able to see the press conference be listed over here. So this was last January 26, 27. You click on this and it'll take you to another page where you can watch the press conference. It's a 54-minute long press conference.
Good afternoon. At the Federal Reserve, we are strongly committed to achieving the monetary policy goals that Congress has given us: maximum employment and price stability.
I mean, everyone's going to be watching this at 2 p.m. literally.
Forceful actions.
And this is from January, right? So the March one is going to be released at 2 p.m.
To ensure that the recovery will be as strong as possible and to limit lasting damage to the economy. Today, my colleagues on the FOMC and I kept interest rates near zero and maintained our sizable asset purchases. These measures, along with our strong guidance on interest rates.
So this is everything that he said in the last meeting.
Good afternoon. At the Federal Reserve, we are strongly committed to achieving the monetary policy goals that Congress has given us: maximum employment and price stability. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we have taken forceful actions.
Yeah, it's going to be like an hour long. It's going to be released on their website, so you can watch that on their website as well. And this is going to be the complete transcript that everyone can read. It's like a 28-page complete transcript of what he said, right? All right, so let's take a look at where the markets are. The S&P is down about 27%, and the NASDAQ is down only 87 basis points. So we are seeing massive recovery here. We're seeing a push higher. What do you guys think? We're seeing some type of buying pressure come in. The bulls are stepping in a little bit. Let's take a look at some of the stocks here. Tesla pushing up to over 665, and NIO to over 42, and Apple is also trying to find some type of a support. There shouldn't be a Federal Reserve on a racket. You guys are hilarious. So both of these, they actually ended up making high of day. So that definitely is a very bullish sign. So as long as, let me actually go ahead to our white charts and see if I have the analysis on QQQs. So you'll notice that we're still kind of validating that $315. So we this should have been turned into a support right here. Since I'm updating my analysis on this from the past. So you'll notice that those two moving averages, the 21 EMA, the 50 EMA, it's going to be very, very interesting if that continues to get validated today, or if we see any type of selling remainder of today. But those two moving averages, very, very important, sitting roughly at $315. This right here was a massive inverse, like a inverted hammer candle that usually does represent like a trend reversal, so to speak. So we are gapping down, so we'll see if that actually continues, remainder of this week. But the moving averages are very, very critical moving forward. And this right here are going to be the SPYs. The S&P 500 ETF. Again, we're seeing a lot of indecision in the market. So the doji candle, there's a lot of indecision, right? People are really waiting to really understand what the Fed's going to say before making decisions. I mean, it's crazy how there's so many people making so many decisions in the market every single day. It's almost impossible to price all that in. So Tesla on this rally right now, pushing back up over 650, 660 levels. We're down only 1% right now. Amazon also now in the green. We're seeing slowly and steadily some stocks turn to green, so we'll see if we actually turn green on the day, you guys. The NASDAQ, it's a pretty difficult challenge, but we'll see. We're down 82 basis points. That basically means a lot of buying pressure coming in. Is the stream not working again? So it should be working. So energy has pulled back a little bit, and tech is now coming in at a close fourth or fifth. Alright guys, so I'm actually going to end the live stream here. I'll see if I can actually do a live stream at around 2 p.m. Eastern when he actually comes up and speaks. Right now the markets are red, but again, I view them as some really good buying opportunities for a lot of stocks out there that you guys believe that are going to be really, really strong plays over the long term and have or represent that opportunity to get in at those levels. So across the board, we've got red, but again, red is good. It means shopping time, and it means to actually go out and buy some more. In my strong opinion, that's how I view them. But GameStop is up a little bit over 8% is what I see on my VBull, and then AMC is also up a little bit over 3%. Boeing, United Airlines, Alibaba, all these companies, and then banking and cruise lines, airlines are up, but tech again taking a little bit of a beating. But we are seeing some recovery after the open. So NIO down just over 2.8%. Tesla is pushing up, down just about 1.4%. And Apple is also trying to make some type of a recovery right now. So make sure that you guys drop a like. It really helps out with the channel. And then if you guys want to check out the Patreon, the link is going to be down in the description below. All these charts will be accessible to you guys. So you'll get access to the charts, the analysis, the private Discord, the growth portfolio, a lot of research, and a lot of analysis as well. And we also do Zoom meetings, and we also do private Patreon live streams. So similar to this, we'll also be doing them privately. We do them sort of like weekly or bi-weekly, where we go over specific stocks that you guys want me to go over, do a complete technical analysis, go over the macros as well. So if you want to get access to that as well, that's going to be a separate tier, and you're more than welcome to join. So again, thank you so much for joining in. I have a video. I have a playlist on my channel. It's completely free. It goes over technical analysis and how to set up your trading view as well. So it should be available as well. So thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate you guys. And make sure that you drop a like. I will see you guys in the next video, and I'll see if I can do a live stream around when the Fed actually speaks. So again, thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next video.